Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome back. I don't think this is going to date in any way if I say on this blistering hot day, we are back with a tasty, cool edition of Thirsty Thursdays. Sense and nonsense. Why wouldn't you enjoy a cold beverage? Does anything really taste better than the first cold sip of a beer when you are just parched beyond belief? It is one of the joys I have, and I'll try to make this a little short because it's the intro, of not drinking beer when I play golf while I'm playing, because that first one, when I'm done, and actually usually if I go into a clubhouse and order, I'm like, 2, because the first one ain't going to last. But anyway, we are here, and Joe's here. You can hear him. We're going to do a little taste testing. We're going to do a little fact-checking. We're going to do a little nonsense. We're actually getting back towards having soccer on, and we got the Olympics, and people have mental health problems, but we're not going to have any mental health problems during the course of this program because we have, what is the thing, George Washington, the T-shirt they always have on the T-shirts and the signs that says, without beer, it would not be so good for his troops. Well, that George Washington, whatever you think of him, that was pure genius. That was absolute pure genius from George Washington. So I don't know where the fact check's going. That's how we get launched here on Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense. If you are coming here for the first time, we go through the previous episode. We always give a lot of opinions and historical facts that we think are true, and then Joe goes back and checks them out, and I'm almost always right, and he's right most of the time. But that's my take on it anyway. So there you go. We're starting up. We're cranking up. And my glass says Elf the movie. There you go. Just like smile. Well, just like to smile. I agree with that. That's a good sentiment here. I just like to smile too. And we're going to be doing a lot of smiling, a lot of laughing, and we hope you are too. Right here on Thirsty Thursdays, Sense and Nonsense. You should raise a glass while you're listening.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Time to spend a few minutes with my good friend Jeff Dillon from Dillon's Heating and Cooling. And Jeff, what differentiates your company from others in the industry?
Plain and simple, we're honest. We have integrity, and we're going to do things right the first time. There's way too many companies out there that lie, cheat, hide things from the homeowner or customer, and we're not about that. It's kind of funny sometimes. I actually am so honest with some people, it kind of surprises them. But sometimes it's good for business, sometimes it's bad for business. But ultimately, it's the kind of business that I want to run, is an honest one.
And that family way of treating things is part of your slogan, and it's also part of one of your great features that you offer to customers.
Our slogan is like family. Our most popular maintenance plan is called the Family Plan. It's very similar to a lot of ones out there. The little tweak that we do to ours, 1% off for every 2 years. They have a continued maintenance plan with us. If they have a maintenance plan for 10 years, then we give them 5% off, no questions asked.
You can find out more about Dillon's Heating and Cooling and all their great range of services at dillonsheatingandcooling.com. That's Dillon's with an S. The phone number, 913-214-1343. Let's have a brief conversation with David Schmidt from Pro Millennial. David, what differentiates you from other financial organizations?
I would say the passion we have for seeing our clients succeed is probably paramount to what we do here. There's no joy greater than watching a client accumulate wealth. I had a client that I've had for many years was able to buy his dream warehouse. Nothing too extravagant, but we had a savings plan in place and was able to see him fulfill his dreams.
And what else motivates you in this industry?
Well, lately it's been finding out inconsistencies in the marketplace, ferreting out some more than questionable ideas out there that what we're seeing with Bitcoin and a few of these other cryptocurrencies right now. I'm of the opinion where if it's untraceable, it really needs to be regulated in a big way right now.
To get more information and advice from David, visit promillennial.com or call 816-221-7775. That's 816-221-7775. We're here once again with Dr. Brad Woodle from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Springtime, good weather's finally here. People want to stay active, and it's your job to make sure that they can stay active, and be healthy.
Danny, we see a lot of not just weekend warriors, but people that every day are having that want to get back to activity. Whether you're starting with walking, jogging, or maybe that first 5K of the year, we want to help you out. We specialize in taking care of all ages, from kids all the way to grandmas and grandpas, but absolutely specialize in getting you back to full function and keeping you in great shape.
So in short, how do we go about doing that?
The first thing is to schedule a consultation with one of our doctors and therapists so we can see how you move and how you're supposed to move. Based on our assessment, we can put together a short treatment plan and a set of goals to help you both feel better, function better, and most importantly, stay better for this year and many years to come.
Learn more at asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
All right, Danny, we're back. You know, I got you that glass on purpose. Cheers. That is, it says, I just like to smile. Smiling's my favorite.
I had it turned at a slightly odd angle, so I didn't quite see it all.
Because you've got such a reputation as a dour individual, but you actually are quite the smiler if someone were to meet you.
I do like to smile, and I probably smile a little bit more over a beverage. I do have a bit of a resting bitch face, unfortunately. I think it's gotten a little better over the years, but I don't really like to walk around the world with a grin on my face.
Yeah.
You kind of have an easy grin.
Oh.
You don't have
only in this situation.
You don't have a resting bitch face. You have a smiley face.
Do I? Well, I'll take that as a compliment. People tell me that at work I'm intimidating. I don't know. I just learned that recently. Hey, you know what we're trying here, Danny?
I don't know, but it's good.
This is an Odell Brewing Company Peach Stand Rambler Blonde Ale.
And again, for those out there who get intimidated by any time a fruit flavor is introduced into any kind of title of the beer, it's usually so subtle.
I don't like peaches. This is pretty good.
I do like peaches, but this is extremely subtle, and it's far from sweet. So
yeah, it's not too sweet. It's a little sweet.
Now, last time, of course, we had the melon, which you didn't like at all.
No, I like peaches more than watermelon. Okay, so I'm going to give this it's just a solid 6.8 for me.
I'll agree with that. I'll just to be different, I'll say 6.7. It's, it's good. I didn't drink it and go, whoa, that's outstanding, and I didn't drink it and go, oh.
But if you were handed this, you'd be like, this is pretty good.
It is. It's good.
Odell
makes good beer.
Odell does make good beer.
It's a good company.
It is fact check time, Danny. I got it on a tablet this time. Look at this.
Boy, yeah, we've gone paper, then we go laptop, now we get a tablet, and big print, too.
Oh, it's very... I don't have to wear readers.
There you go. Joe always gives me trouble about being old. I don't even use cheaters anymore. I think we talked about this before. I used them for like 10 years, and then all of a sudden I didn't need them. I don't know what happened.
Hit on the head however you did, because it's just becoming a thing for me. We talked about Murphy Brown, Candace Bergen's dad,
yes,
the ventriloquist. He was a radio ventriloquist, right?
Edgar Bergen.
Which doesn't make any sense. But you had about all the facts right on that, but I found some interesting things about Murphy Brown and her dad. So she was part of the Yippie movement in the 1960s. Do you know about the Yippie movement?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to tell our listeners what the Yippie movement was about?
It was an offshoot of being a hippie, but I think it was somebody who was politically active, but maybe looked like Candace Bergen.
And they generally had money, I think, was the thing, right?
It's part of, I think the phrase yuppie eventually was taken from yippie.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
So these were well-to-do, although there were hippies who were well-to-do, but and Candace Bergen was like the top model in the world.
She was super well-to-do.
She was a supermodel. Yeah.
So in the 1960s, she participated in a prank in which she and several other people threw dollar bills onto the floor of the New York Stock Exchange and caused like a ruckus, and they had to shut the stock exchange down.
Nice.
Well, I guess that and some of her other behavior made her and her dad not get along so great. And when he died in 1978, she was 32 years old. And she got nothing. She was completely cut out of the will. But do you know who was in the will?
I do not know.
His puppet, Charlie McCarthy.
Wow.
His goddamn puppet was in the will.
Well, it was a meal ticket, I'll tell you that. I mean, I think people probably knew Charlie McCarthy's name more than they did Edgar Bergen's name. And by the time she was 32, I'll tell you what, she didn't need his money.
That is what it said. She was fitting to get that Murphy Brown money too. So,
well, she also was like Tom Brady's wife.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, she was. In fact, when she first started acting, she had to overcome the fact that people just thought of her as just another pretty face, as it were.
What else do you think she was in?
She did some movies, but she became famous as a model, magazines, runways, stuff like that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked.
And she is lovely.
I'll have to go check out some Google images. We talked about Ultimate Frisbee and there being a league. And we talked about it was a semi-professional league. We couldn't figure out what that meant. Right?
Well, I think I sort of figured out what it meant when I did some fact-checking myself.
Oh.
The players in this league, even the good ones, they make like $700 a year. But I think it said between $300 and $700.
Well, okay. So I just went.
That would be semi-professional. If I made $300 to $700 a year doing this podcast, I would say that you could call me a semi-professional.
Well, I guess that makes me an amateur, Danny.
There you go.
Let's see here. Okay, so but the literal
ancillary benefits.
The literal definition of it is the difference between the two is that a semi-professional is paid as a professional, but on a part-time basis.
So he doesn't.
Seems
really,
about right.
He doesn't really have a yearly contract.
Yeah,
Gets a portion of the gate receipts or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Laker is just enthralled.
Well, I'm telling you what, it's always wonderful to see a restful dog. That Laker is Joe's dog. He's a big dog. And I almost beat you to the punch. I was going to say, is Laker dead?
Hush your mouth.
Our corgi is of a certain age, is older.
Yeah.
And she's had a few health problems, but so, you always worry a little bit.
Yes.
And she sleeps very restfully. And, like we'll be in the hall carpet, and I'm like, I just want to see that tummy going up and down. I'll lean down and just hear the little breath.
Go set a mirror in front of her nose.
Slight snore. That's what I want to hear.
Well, I am a little worried. He's getting old. He's almost 11. He's a big dog. That's pretty old for a big dog. I took him to the vet. They got him all checked out. They say he's good. He's just getting old, man. He sleeps 20 hours a day.
Yeah, same with our corgi. Quinny,
we get
sleeps a lot.
We got a lot of contractors running around right now. We got a lot of crap going on at the house, so he doesn't get to sleep during the day as much. So he's a little worn out. We talked about the ABA because we were talking about the movie Semi-Pro, right?
Right.
Okay, so which ABA teams became NBA teams? So we had sort of remembered that the Kentucky Colonels became the Spurs.
And the Kentucky Colonels were maybe the best franchise in the ABA.
We were incorrect on that.
Oh, really?
Really? So
wow.
Yeah. So
the Kentucky Colonels did not make it into the NBA?
No. So by the time, so the merger,
they were good.
The merger talks started in 1970.
Pat Riley played for the Kentucky.
Really?
Colonels. Yes.
So the talks started in the 70s, but they could never get it going, and the merger finally occurred in 1976, which I didn't realize it was that recent. I mean, not that that's yesterday or anything, but
it wasn't really a merger.
Well, that's the thing is
it took on a few teams.
Yes, and so there were. Okay, so as part of the merger agreement, the NBA agreed to take 4 teams. Okay, and there was only 6 left at this time.
Right.
All right. So they took the Denver Nuggets, the Indiana Pacers, the New York Nets, and the San Antonio Spurs.
Wow.
The other 2 teams were the Kentucky Colonels and the Spirit of St. Louis and they folded. And they took their players and put them in a dispersal draft, and they were drafted into the NBA.
There were a lot of good players. I mean, there were a lot of good players in that league. They made some money.
What city is it, Louisville or?
Yes, they played in
Or
Louisville.
how do you supposed to say it?
Louisville.
Louisville.
I don't think San Antonio was I mean, there was a lot of movement and franchise change. And I don't think San Antonio was an ABA team for that long. I mean, I think
really?
I think they're only an ABA team like right at the end, but I could be wrong. But there were a lot of great players in the ABA, and they were the first. They started the 3-point shot.
Oh.
They used to play with the red, white, and blue ball.
Oh, yes, that's true.
And a lot of the things were taken from the ABA. It was very influential, and they had some big stars. Julius Erving, Artis Gilmore.
So in the movie the movie Semi-Pro that Will Ferrell does about the ABA, his team is the Flint, Michigan Tropics. So they're in Flint, Michigan, but it's the Tropics.
Right.
Anyway, I looked it up to see if it was a real team, and it wasn't. But there is a G League team that's near there, near Flint, and they did a Tropics night where they wore the Tropics uniforms. Bonus beer alert.
There we go. Well, we split one.
So here's what happened. We're splitting them because I didn't make it to the store. So.
But I brought a couple.
Okay.
We're gonna have a little Elvis theme in here in a little
That's
bit.
right. So here's our next try. Here, you can just have the can. I took my half.
No, I'll pour it out here.
All right.
So we got a Prost.
This is a Prost.
You know, I looked in your beer fridge the other day. I came over here for a little pool antics. There are a lot of rattlers in there. There must have been 5 different kinds of rattlers. I was walking in. I said, I'll grab something in there. And so this is a Prost Rattler, German-style grapefruit lager. That will be a theme
I've
today
never had this.
because we've got a grapefruit-infused IPA upcoming. Okay, so you have not had this?
Never had it.
Okay, well,
Truthfully,
here we go.
not just
I have not had it
podcast
either.
lion. Here we go.
Smooth.
It is. Crisp.
Well, you could drink this all day. It's got a 4 in front of the alcohol by volume, so probably why it's smooth.
Well, good. It's very good.
Let me tell you, the Elvis does not have a 4.
We'll finish with that.
Does not have a 4. So
What do you think here? Give me a...
I think this is better than the first one.
I do too.
I'm going to go 7.2.
Ooh, I was going to go 7.5. 7.5 for the Prost.
Yeah, I mean,
Rattler.
I was probably just going a little low, but you know, you want to leave room for, you want to leave room. This is just like a play-by-play announcer.
Absolutely.
If somebody's always at 9, it's not good.
Yeah, you can't go, what's his name, Gus or whatever.
Right. I mean, you've got to leave space for the truly fantastic things.
Yeah, who is that guy? What's his name?
Gus Johnson.
Gus Johnson. That guy is... How'd you like to be his wife?
Gus-asms or something?
Yeah, how'd you like to be his wife? He comes home, hey, baby!
That guy, he's not what you think when you hear him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dish, Danny Dish.
He likes to have a good time. He smokes like a stove.
No.
He's a little fella. Yeah, all those things.
Wow. Okay, so there's been entire books written on why the USFL didn't work.
Oh, do you want to? Can I tell one ABA story?
I would love for you to tell an ABA story.
All right. I was a big fan of Providence College basketball. I think we've discussed that before. Ernie DiGregorio, they 1973 Final Four. I've shown the video. I think I've talked about this before of Ernie DiGregorio playing in the Final Four, behind the back passes, etc. Unbelievable.
Just phenomenal.
And another player on that team was Marvin Barnes, and he was a great player, but he was a bad person. And he would not have been eligible for his senior year under most circumstances. He beat up a teammate with a tire iron.
Oh, my God.
Larry Catbertus was the victim's name, actually. Anyway, Marvin Bad News Barnes was his nickname.
Ooh, okay.
Although there was another Bad News Barnes, Jim Bad News Barnes, who predated him in the NBA. See, I'm full of facts here. I may have a stroke here at the end, but my facts are all flying out. Anyway, Marvin was really a fabulous player, and they really might have had a chance to win the national championship. They made it to the semifinals. They were killing Memphis State, and Barnes got hurt in the first half. and Memphis came storming back, won the game, and then UCLA slaughtered them with Bill Walton in the final. Well, I've joked around. I think I've told you that I've joked around with Bill Walton at the Final Four many times. Anyway, I think that story has been told, that I said, hey, they had a real chance against you guys if Marvin was there. And he goes, I cannot disagree with that. They played him early in the year, beat him pretty bad, but Providence was humming. Anyway,
Hold on, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is Memphis State Memphis now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were Memphis State then.
Got it.
In fact, I did a Memphis State-Kansas game at Allen Fieldhouse, and it was the first play-by-play professional money I got. I didn't do play-by-play. I didn't do play-by-play of it. I was a stringer. You called in reports.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember what the entity was. It might have been Bloomberg Radio.
Oh, and this is like when you were a student, or right when you were done being
when I was a student. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I literally kept the check. I didn't cash it, and I was,
What?
I don't have it now, but I'm sure I cashed it eventually. For a while there, I said, oh, this is a memento. I'm not going to cash it. Anyway, let's get all past that into the Marvin Barnes story. Many people may have heard this Marvin Barnes story. Bob Costas has told it often. Marvin he went to the Spirits of St. Louis. And Bob Costas was their play-by-play announcer, and it was his first job right out of Syracuse. He's only like 21 years old.
Okay.
And so Marvin was the star player of the team, and he was really good. I mean, really good. But he had his issues.
Got it.
So anyway, one time they're going to play a game, and it's a road game, and Marvin doesn't show up for the team flight. And he's not there. And so the team goes on to wherever they were going. Let's just say it was Indiana. Okay. And so they get to Indiana. They're in the locker room having the chalk talk before the game. In like 5 minutes before tip, in walks Marvin, full-length leather jacket like Superfly, tied up at the waist, undoes the leather belt, opens it up, uniform underneath it. And so the coach is named Jack McKinnon. He's like, Marvin, you can't do this. You can't just fly in and show up. You weren't on time for the flight. You're barely on time for the game. No. And Barnes looks at him and he says, Coach, game time is on time. Went out and got like 40 and 20.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, there's your Marvin, and he didn't live that long. I think 50-something years, and very checkered. He eventually played for the Celtics for a little bit.
He lived hard though.
Oh yeah, real hard. And
hey,
he
listen,
died at a young age. So
he probably had a good time.
So you're about to get into the ABA and the USFL and why they didn't work. Well, they overspent. They spent huge money on. They were giving these guys way more money than they could make in the NFL or the NBA.
So what I was going to say is entire books have been written on why the USFL didn't work, and so I get it. We're going to skip a bunch of stuff here, but the long and the short of it is you were correct. One of the main thing that brought it down is they all agreed we're not going to have a salary cap, but we're going to not overspend. Like gentleman's agreement between the owners didn't happen.
No.
Did not happen. So,
these guys were making big enough money that they were willing to go to what was considered clearly an inferior league because they were getting like 4 times more money than the NFL would give them.
That's what it said. The other thing I thought that was interesting about it was,
one of those owners, as we noted last time, was Donald Trump.
Yes. So the USFL went in the offseason of the NFL was when their season was, right? It was the summer one. Well, then they decided, Donald Trump, as the leader of this group of owners, decided we're going to go up against the NFL schedule. And the reason we're going to do this is we're going to pair that with a lawsuit, an antitrust lawsuit, and try to force a merger. And that's going to make our franchises worth what these NFL franchises are worth. Well, they won the lawsuit. They won the antitrust lawsuit. Did you know that?
I did not.
And they got a judgment of $1. Okay? Which under antitrust laws, it was tripled to $3. Okay. So it was a decision, where they won, but there was no damages really given. I don't know the details of it, but it's a very famous court case that my lawyer buddy told me that you learn about in law school. And that was basically the end of the USFL because they couldn't get the TV contracts and everything to go up against the NFL, and then the NFL didn't absorb them, and they just put their thumb on them, and then nobody else has been able to get any traction against the NFL since. And by the time the whole thing folded, it had lost over $163 million, which in today's dollars is $389 million. That's what those guys lost in the USFL.
And guys like Jim Kelly, Steve Young, lots of stars played in this league. Lots of them. And then I think Herschel Walker. I believe Herschel Walker played for Donald Trump's team, I think.
I always thought that was the case, that Herschel Walker, but you didn't ever mention him last time.
I think he did. I think he played for New Jersey.
Okay. So I have 2 facts left.
Okay.
I had to scrape the barrel on this.
We were just too brilliant?
We were just too brilliant last time. Sometimes I'm bathed in fact check, and sometimes it's not as much. So we talked about Van Morrison and how I thought he had killed a guy and that he didn't. And that it was actually, I was thinking Jerry Lee Lewis killed a guy, and Jerry Lee Lewis probably killed a lot of people. And so have you ever heard the circumstances of him killing his 5th wife?
No. Was she 15 also?
No, she was 23. Wow. And I think he was well into his upper age, right?
He lived a long time.
Yes. I mean, well, he knew where he was headed when he died, so he was trying to stick around. So his 5th wife called a friend and said, "I got to leave Jerry. He's scaring me." She'd only been with him for a couple of months. The next day, the housekeeper calls the police. Ambulance shows up, and she is laying on the bed in their guest bedroom with bruises on her body, blood under her fingernails, scratches all over Jerry Lee Lewis, and a mountain of other physical evidence. And the sheriff, the good old boy sheriff, there outside of, I don't know where it was, Memphis, I think, just brushed it under the rug because it was Jerry Lee Lewis. And it's basically like one of those stories that they've gone back and looked at, like, how did this happen?
Wow.
Yeah, and this guy, I guess the sheriff was like a really rich land developer or something, and he was just doing the job for fun,
and Jerry Lee was his guy.
Exactly. He thought it was really cool that he got to hang out with this famous dude.
Young gal is probably misbehaving. Got what was coming to her.
Exactly.
I know that type.
Okay, the very last thing is we talked about Bob Dylan and where he got his name, and you had said that it was from Dylan Thomas,
right?
A poet that he liked. And
a poet that he liked. Dylan Thomas, one of the most famous poets of all time.
You said a poet that he liked. That's a quote from the last. Okay, so listen to this. Prior to becoming Bob Dylan, he used the names Elston Gunn, Robert Allen, and Bob Dylan. Okay? Spelled differently, Dillon. So he used the name Elston Gunn when he was in high school performing, right?
Probably more of a rock and roll sounding name, kind of.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Elston Gunn. So then, you said last time that he, because of his affinity for the poet Dylan Thomas. Now, Dylan refuted that theory during an interview with the New York Times in 1961. I saw on the internet that also that's where it came from. But in 1961, Bob Dylan said, quote, "Dylan Thomas's poetry is for people that aren't really satisfied in their bed, for people who dig masculine romance."
Wow. How high was he when he said that?
What do you think he meant by masculine romance?
I do not know. I am not going to try to analyze that. No.
No? You're not touching that one?
No, I am not. It's a good way to close things out here for Block 1, Segment 1, whatever you want to call it here. That was good. That was fun. And we had 2 good beers, which averaged out to at least a 7. Joe's having a good time because his cap is askew. Now he's putting it on backward. Now it's.
Is that better?
That's better. That's better. Before you just kind of looked like old man had too many beers, and we haven't had too many, and we'll get after that coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Llewellyn for the 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you so much for supporting local restaurants, especially through this pandemic. And you know what? We're almost through it. At the 23rd Street Brewery, we have brought in a few more tables. You can wear a mask if you want, or not. It's your choice. Other than that, we're open 11:30 every single day. So come see us at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence.
We're here with Michael Barber, the CEO and founder of Microlight Corporation of America, the world leaders in laser therapy. And Michael, tell us a little bit about your product.
Our device is using a particular wavelength and power to reduce pain and swelling. My background is surgical lasers, but I've been involved with this particular device now for about the last 20 years, actually.
And I know that it works because I've had it
There
used
you go.
on me as well. And tell us about the relationship you have with your company and Canaway.
It's what I call a strategic business relationship in that Canaway, the leader in the field of the cannabinoid systems and CBD oil, but our device used in conjunction with Canaway CBD oil gives a better pain relief outcome for the patient.
And if you want to get that pain relief outcome like I did, you can reach their local representative, Sherry McCants, at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
I was the person who opened his beer first, so Joe gets to do the official crack of the beer. And we are starting, this is our third rating. Now, this is going to be a full beer for each of us, but that doesn't really matter. And this is, again, for people who live in the Shawnee area. I think there's one or two other. Justin's Liquors is near my house. And one of the reasons I like going there is they're very nice people. That's on Shawnee Mission Park, just off Shawnee Mission Parkway, and right where the Hy-Vee is, pretty much. And they're very nice people there. And one of the reasons I like the store, in addition to the fact that it's very, very nice people, is the fact that they have overruns in the front, just inside the front door sometimes. And they're ordinarily, you can get a really good beer, an interesting beer, and generally they're like $3.99 a six-pack. And this was $3.99 a six-pack, and it is, have you found the company yet?
It's worth more than that. It says, "United we stand for better beer."
Well, there you go.
Fiercely defiant and independent. Live fast, drink slow.
And let's see, does it even say the name of the company? I don't know. But anyway.
Brewdog.
It is, Brewdog's probably the name of the company. Brewdog Elvis Juice, this is. And it's grapefruit infused IPA.
I mean, Elvis Juice just sounds dirty.
It does. And I think it's probably, Brewdog's the name of the company. And I have not tasted it yet. Joe is on his second gulp, and I am going for mine. I have had this beer before, but I'm just refreshing my memory.
Good. This is more flavorful in a beer sense than the last two.
It is good. It's good. I mean, it is. I'm not here. I'm not compensated by Justin's. It'd be nice if I was. Free beer, Justin's, whatever. Maybe I'll put a photo on the social media. Anyway,
this is.
It says grapefruit infused. It's just good beer.
Yeah.
You can hardly. It's just a hint of grapefruit. It also packs a punch.
I think a little bit. Oh, does it? We have to
Oh,
be
yeah.
careful here. It doesn't taste like a Packs a Punch. I feel like the fruit.
No, it doesn't. Maybe it's a 6.5.
I think they're putting the fruit in these IPAs because it takes a little bit of that like bong water flavor out of the IPA. You know what I mean? Like it just takes some of that, really, really hoppy.
All right, I'll do this. I never drank bong water. Okay, so I don't know what it tastes like at all. But we did. Have you ever strained bong water?
No, strained it.
Uh-huh. You run out of weed.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
Nope.
Oh my God, does it work?
Well, there's something in there, I mean, stuff doesn't always burn. It's not, this is a long time ago, folks.
Oh,
okay?
you mean if it got
the
pulled?
bong-
Yeah, it got pulled through and then it's
Yeah.
floating in the water. Strain it out, dry it out on a paper towel. That is genius.
There you go. So maybe if you're out there, you want to save a little money. Now, this is not going to be flavorful weed.
Do people use bongs?
I don't know, but I never understood back in the day, and we'll move on from this. It just seems so damn wasteful to smoke a joint.
You think?
Oh, yeah. It was way, way better to use a bong.
Oh, see, I'm completely think that's backwards.
No, you could the amount of
Yeah, you're a bang for your buck kind of guy, and I'm gonna roll through and enjoy life kind of guy. All right, this is the difference between me and
the
you.
amount of weed in a joint was like
10 times a bolo and in a bong.
40 bong hits.
Exactly, but a bong hit is not enjoyable.
There was nothing wrong. Nothing at all wrong. Preferred it.
Listen,
it.
I'm,
All right, let's move
someday
along.
my kids will listen to this. I haven't had a bong rip in 20 years.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a bit.
But I
maybe,
don't
maybe
remember.
Longer,
I
maybe
don't
longer.
remember it being a pleasant experience.
Oh, I much preferred it back in the day. But anyway, now we'll just stick to the BrewDog Elvis juice. By the way, a little music's coming. My wife and I are coming up on a real, full-blown, big-time outdoor concert in the next week or so. We have obviously gone to Knuckleheads to see the Mavericks, which is always an incredible experience. That was about, it was like May, so, and it was actually the day that they lifted the mask mandate, which now is going to be back. It
Good
looks
luck
like
with that. Delta.
we don't need to get
is in
into that.
town.
But we're going to go see next Tuesday Jason Mraz at Starlight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Who's the Mraz fan in the couple?
we both like Jason Mraz.
Yeah.
I mean, neither one of us probably has ever been like a gigantic fan of
What is that? That scatting he
yeah.
does.
And then he does The Remedy is his biggest song.
Yeah,
The Remedy
yeah.
is it's sort of
He
a,
wears that funny hat. Hey, I got nothing against Jason Mraz. I'm not going to see him Jason Mraz show, but I'm not going to yuck your yum.
right? The I think the inspiration for it was, and now we've lost the channel actually on our cable set.
Oh yeah, you got that
is-
free music channel for a while.
Right, but for a long while. And Daryl's House, that series that Daryl Hall did.
Okay,
And Jason Mraz was on that.
who's Daryl Hall?
Hall & Oates.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it.
You got it?
Got it now.
And he did a show for, I don't know if they're still making them, for maybe a decade or so. It started out as one of the first streaming type of shows, and then they would started showing it on television. And he built a house, and now he moved into a second house. And he would have musicians up there. He's extremely rich, obviously. He has all this money he wrote the songs, too. So
And they just hang out.
he would
and
have
talk
it's sort of
and-
just north of New York in this beautiful New York City, beautiful area. And they would perform songs and cook also. That was the premise of the show. And so it was what part of the show was. And if people stream it or do whatever they want to do, it's a very entertaining show. Daryl Hall might be the biggest fan of Daryl Hall in the history of anybody, period. But he's a very good musician, very good singer, and so they do versions of each person's songs with Daryl Hall performing with them.
Oh, okay.
So, but Jason Mraz's personality, and I do like some of the songs, just comes through.
So you seem like a genuine dude.
Absolutely, positively. So we're very much looking forward to this show, and just to see what a big show is like. And now, of course, we're maybe headed down another road where we're going to have some problems. So
my daughter's going to New York in 2 weeks with her grandma for my mother-in-law takes.
New York's supposed to be okay right now.
Really? My mother-in-law takes a grandkid when they turn 10 or 11. She takes them on a trip, right, through this thing that they put together for grandparents to take their grandkids on a trip. And it got canceled last summer because of
COVID.
Yeah, and they don't even get to see a Broadway show because there's such limited seating still for that.
Oh, really? So
They don't get to go to the UN because it's closed down because I doubt they ever even open the dang thing again because this is an excuse to not have the security.
To go and not be able to see a Broadway show, that really hurts.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible. Well, not terrible. I mean, anyway, so she's really excited. And then, we get this. I'm so irritated. But you were talking about New York, and it reminded me of a story I read. What's that place that's north of New York where all the rich people go?
Westchester County?
Is it Nantucket?
No, Nantucket is on Cape Cod. Or it's an island off of Cape Cod. That's in Massachusetts.
Okay.
That's in Martha's Vineyard.
Hamptons?
The Hamptons.
Is that it? Okay.
That's it's not. It's east of New York City, and it's just off Long Island.
Okay, but it's on the on the water.
Or it is on Long Island, I believe. It's like Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, like where the Kennedys used to go. Those are little islands off Cape Cod. The Hamptons are on the they're not islands. The Hamptons are just where rich people go on Long Island.
Got it. Okay, so I read an article that they can't find people to work the jobs there because during the pandemic, even the houses that the waiters and the housekeepers and all those people lived in, the value went up so much that rich people bought the helps houses. Now there's nowhere for the help to live. And so it was these poor rich people were griping about they couldn't find people to iron their sheets. Did you know there's a name for
iron their sheets?
That was my exact reaction. So there's I think it's called I'll have to look it up for the fact check. It was called like a laundronaise or something like that. There's a word for it, and that person's job is to iron sheets. Okay, for these rich people. Can you imagine? And so they were talking about...
I guess if you're rich, I mean, let's face it, you pull a sheet out of the dryer, it's a little wrinkly. Who cares, really? But
you're just going to sleep on it.
I know.
So they were talking about these rich people walking around. So the fashion for the women now, this summer, is to have non-painted nails because there are no nail salons for them to go to. And so they heaven forbid they paint their own nails, right?
Wow.
I mean, you talk about wealth inequality getting out of control. I mean, come on.
My wife really enjoys, painting her nails.
Really?
I think she considers it kind of therapeutic or whatever, and so she does that kind of religiously. So
wow,
and
yeah, my wife, it's off to the salon.
Well, not that. No, I don't think she does that. She doesn't go to the salon for that because I think she does like doing it.
That's good beer.
There you go.
This gets 2 thumbs up from me. Elvis Juice. I mean, they could come up with a better name.
Let's so we didn't. Did we rate it yet? We didn't rate it.
We did.
No, we rated the first 2, and we didn't rate this one. I don't.
Really?
So
this will be interesting because do we give it the same rating the second time?
No, there wasn't a second time. We rated that one, then we rated the Prost. We haven't rated this one yet. I'm going to give it an 8-1. 8-1.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I was going 8. 8 even.
There you go, 8-1.
That's good.
Still leaves room for...
I'll tell you what, you get into the 8s. You're doing something on this podcast.
Sure, but still leaves room. Maybe someday we'll have a 9.5. We'll just be blown away.
We'll give it the gold medal, right?
Exactly the goal.
Speaking of medals,
are you enjoying the Olympics?
I tried to watch it with my kids,
Right.
and I thought they're going to love this,
Right.
and they didn't love it.
What were you watching?
It was the other night, so it was triathlon. Was that on the other where they were running on the blue track? I think that was triathlon, and then swimming, and then gymnastics. I mean, those are three pretty big ones. They're
Right.
pretty entertaining, right?
Right.
I'll tell you what I've enjoyed the most, and that I got Lila to watch with me. We watched fencing, which is really fun to watch, and then water polo. Water polo should be up there with the big sports to me.
The only thing I find about water polo, I like watching water polo, but it gets a little repetitive to me. I mean, they just kind of waving their arms around a lot, and so this sport used to be so ruthless that there are stories, and you can fact check this, about like the water is turning pink.
Wow, really?
Because they're like kicking each other underneath, and they grow their toenails.
And to scratch each other.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
now that would be even more
ruthless
entertaining.
and brutal. Well, the other day, sometimes over lunch, I'll be flipping the Olympics on, and at lunchtime, they're not going to show the even live. They're not going to waste their time
on the good stuff.
But I watched ping pong. It was tremendous.
Oh, I heard that was cool.
It was, and
we played some ping
watched
pong
it.
last time you were
Yeah,
here.
and played in 30 years maybe.
How did it look compared to our ping pong skills?
Well, it looks the same, except they're just better. I mean, you can do the occasional smash and defense, but I mean, remarkable. And the thing that's remarkable is that they're so skilled, and the table looks so tiny.
Oh,
That's the thing that's amazing, because they're wailing away.
Aren't they like 10 feet back from the?
A lot of times they're not. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think I remember that they used to. Maybe that has changed, and you guys and gals
Are just better and they're more
right.
reactive.
And nobody was really that far back from the table, and
Wow.
they're just. Sometimes it was like 7, 8 shots in a row where they were just wailing away. I mean, it was, and it looked to me I've always seemed strange to me in certain sports. It looked to me when I was watching it like the men and women could have played each other almost.
Yeah.
Because the speed of I can't tell. It's a very small quarters, but it looked like they were kind of hitting the ball the same speed, but they probably weren't. But anyway, it was very entertaining. I was entertained completely. Now, it's the type of thing where you watch it and then the match isn't over and you got something else to do and you just leave. I'm not sitting there going, I got to see the end of this match.
That's why the Olympics are perfect, because when people tell me, "Oh no, I love the Olympics. I'm all in on the Olympics. They're great." I'm like, "Well,
who won that volleyball game you were watching?"
It's fun.
I don't know. It was still the fourth. Like in ping pong, they have different. I always remember ping pong in my youth as you played to 21, which we did the other day.
That's what we did, yeah.
Well, they play best of 7 to 11. And they alternate serves every 2 points.
Oh, well, that makes sense if you're only going to 11.
Right.
Right. Now, speaking of beach volleyball, I mean, that's not
controversy.
It's not bad to watch.
They've had controversy with the beach volleyball.
No, tell me about it.
Well, I can't remember which.
Are they stealing teams
Maybe
to play in the SEC?
This is different type of controversy. A couple of the women's teams have decided, this is ridiculous. We don't want to be.
Oh yeah.
We don't want to be out there in these ultra bikinis.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think it was Sweden maybe trotted out uniforms with, sort of like stretch athletic pants. Shorts, but
yeah, but not
spandex pants.
Yeah. Yeah, like biker shorts.
Right, that type of thing. And there actually were rules that, you had to wear a bikini bottom. They had actual...
How is that a rule?
Actual rule, it wasn't supposed to be more than, at the hip, it wasn't supposed to be more than, I think it was 3 inches.
What?
There were actual written rules. So I don't know how it's played out, because I haven't watched much beach volleyball. But then there was another. So it went both ways. I saw that Sandra Spain, is that her name on ESPN? Spain, whatever Spain's last name is, the woman reporter. person who gives opinions. And she was really mad because not only there was one situation where this woman was being criticized because she was a sprinter, I believe, and she was wearing too little clothing.
Oh.
And so she was getting in trouble for that. And then the beach volleyball people were getting in trouble because they were wearing too much clothing.
Okay, listen, two things on this. First of all, who do you think wrote the rules? What do you think the gender of the person who wrote the rules about the bikini on them?
Not a woman.
Okay. Exactly. And two, the purpose of uniform regulation is to make sure that no one can gain an advantage
Right.
from what they're wearing, right? You look at these hockey goalies and what they're doing with these
Well, in
leg
some
pads.
cases, I mean, the NFL, they have some rules that are just there purely because they want to have uniformity.
Yes, but see, those are stupid rules.
Right.
My point is these rules are also stupid.
Right.
Because unless it's giving you an advantage, wearing too little clothing as a sprinter, I could see could possibly give you an advantage, maybe aerodynamically or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
But
they don't wear much anyway, so I don't see.
yeah, I mean, they're not leaving a lot to the imagination with these. Usain Bolt's not leaving a lot to the imagination with his sprinter's outfit.
But the
So who
shorts he was
cares?
wearing are kind of what the beach volleyball players wanted to wear.
Yeah.
Instead of bikini bottoms. Now, I think some of the ladies are perfectly fine with it. They're in fantastic shape. Why wouldn't they want to, in some cases, they're probably saying, hey, look at me. I look great.
I could probably get if you look at it cynically, I could probably get a couple more bucks out of Rolex or whatever.
Right.
If I'm spiking this ball in a bikini than if I'm spiking this ball in biker shorts.
Exactly. So do you have you have a serious Olympic take?
I don't know. Okay, Simone Biles, right?
Right. As we speak, she has opted out of a couple events, still has a couple that she possibly could be involved in.
I think that an athlete can do whatever they want. But she's not being even paid, right? The sponsors are paying her, right?
Right,
She's
but
beholden
she's
to
not.
sponsors.
She does not. You don't
doesn't have a
You don't get
contract.
$100,000 for
Exactly.
a gold medal, and
Uncle Sam's not scratching her a check to go jump around on the
I
balance
think, I
beam.
think they are, and technically, yes.
Do they?
The U.S. Olympic Committee. I think you do get paid something.
Really?
Oh yeah, you get paid.
Oh, I assumed you didn't, but okay.
Right, like you're in the U.S. women's national team soccer, you get paid.
I thought that was they only got paid because of by the tournament that they were in, like the World Cup pays them.
This is a good fact check.
Yeah, I think the maybe there. In any case,
Anyway, they
she
make
doesn't.
money.
She's not playing for the Chiefs where
Right,
you got a
exactly.
contract and you're supposed to go out and play 16 games or 17 games a year or whatever.
Maybe she's semi-professional.
Exactly.
Bring it full
right?
circle
Callback.
before we close it out.
My point, yeah, and my point is, I'm trying to make sure that because I want to be nuanced about this. If she was in another sport where she was getting paid, wouldn't she be called a quitter?
I think this is a different time. I think we've seen people in other sports take time off. Now she's in an individual sport. Recently, Matthew Wolff, a golfer who's won a couple PGA Tour events, very young guy, has come out and he missed time, and then he came out and said, "I'm having mental health problems."
Mm-hmm.
I think that we've seen, baseball players or other people, come out and say, Kevin Love, basketball player.
Yep.
So I think it's more accepted that it's considered almost like an injury now.
And I think it should be. But you look back at, let's just take the Zach Greinke, I want to mow lawns situation.
Right.
And
I think that was really, really handled poorly by a lot of different people.
Well, I think that the Royals should be commended. And they
Right.
were way ahead of the curve.
Right, but what did we hear from,
Sports
some
Talk
old-time
Radio,
ball player,
absolutely.
from
He's a quitter, and he's even
Come
the
on,
national
gut-
people. Suck it up.
Suck it up, whatever.
Absolutely. So I guess my point is that the next time I hear that, maybe it has changed. Maybe you're right. And maybe we're all better for it. And we will all be better for it if it's changed and we're actually going to take mental health into consideration.
But also, it's such a, I understand what you're saying, and there is nuance here, because maybe she just didn't feel like she had it. Because she's still there, and she still may compete. And
maybe her mental health gets better in 1 week of not competing in the team event. But I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I think I would feel better about the fact that she truly was experiencing something that, you know, might need some treatment or some therapy or whatever, if she just said, I'm out.
I will also tell you that as a person that has suffered from anxiety in my life, I don't get to just not go to work because I've got anxiety.
Right.
I can't be in the middle of a job and say, well, look, folks, I'm out of here. You're just on your own.
Right.
I guess, you'll just have to, finish this job up yourself because I'm having an anxiety attack today. I have to get my ass up there and finish the job.
Right.
And so I think that there's a certain amount of American pride that goes into the Olympics, right? America, right? And I think there are a lot of people watching the Olympics right now that are working 9 to 5s, that are working their asses off, that have bad days and still have to go to work and are looking at this and are very understandably thinking, what in the hell? You know what I mean? And I'm not in that camp, but I'm saying that there are people that think that way, and I understand it.
I somewhat do too, but unless somebody has experienced, a lot of people who are hardworking people and maybe have a life that's not so great, and this is probably a little too deep for a Thursday, probably haven't experienced mental health problems per se. They've had a bad day.
Well, they probably haven't had the luxury of being able to call it a mental health issue and have it treated.
Right. Well, maybe that's true too.
And so, that is the part that, I get my cockles up when I hear people say that sort of stuff, and I've heard that. I mean, that's where this opinion's coming from. I've heard that about her from people in my life. And so I kind of get my guard up when I'm around those people, like, man, y'all just don't understand, da-da-da-da. But then I start looking at it from their perspective, and, I get it. And I don't know. I don't know how many times I can say I understand that side a different way. I'm just saying I think we all need to be a little understanding when we hear that opinion and not shout those people down and call them idiots. Those people's, the way they're looking at it should be respected as, from their point of view, perhaps they've never had the luxury of being able to say, I just don't have it today, or maybe that's minimizing it for her. I'm having a mental health crisis right now, and I can't work right now. There's a lot of people that don't have that luxury. And those people shouldn't be shouted down when they kind of look at it like it's crap.
I as usual, we both think, and like I said, this is a bit heavy for Thirsty Thursdays.
Sorry, man.
But what we both think is that life is more about grays than black and white. And that's
100%.
That's what people should understand. And I will treat my mental health issues right now with some more Elvis juice.
Sorry I drug you down, buddy.
No, you did not drag me down in any way, shape, or form. Who doesn't need some Elvis juice in their life? And in 2 weeks, we'll be back, and we'll be trying out a couple other beers, and we'll be giving out some opinions and having some laughs and giving you some mental health therapy on Thirsty Thursdays. Sense and nonsense.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.